So with all of the main features out of the way, let's have a listen at some of the controls and see what it does. So these songs will be familiar to anyone that has listened to any of the Reaper Suite demos or the Reaper Boost 1K. We'll be using the Blue Reaper demo because it's got a really good, just super simple open string thing, so you can hear the low end. It has a little bit of some notes moving around, so we can have a listen to it in a few different ways. So let's start with basically, let's just turn everything up and see what happens. Just going through a few of those little on and off sections of the modules, you can hear what they're really doing to the sound. Again, with bass, it's all about the context. So in the context of heavy guitars and big wall of sound, generally you have a lot more distortion than what you'd think you have. So this sound right now is quite distorted, and it is at the more aggressive side of all the settings, which is fun. Let's just start with that. So the good thing with that is you can always dial it down, but when it's mixed in with guitar, so let's just have a little listen. So this is just everything full blast, no mixing, literally just the plug-in, nothing on the buses, same with the guitars. So let's add in the guitar and just see how that sounds with the chugs. So it makes a lot of sense. You can kind of hear that no matter where you set it, it works in the context of the mix. It just gives you different flavors. So that's a good thing about having consistent low end that is just pinned. You know exactly where it's going to go, and then you can just add the distortion characters for flavor to make it suit the guitars. So, and again, with bass, drums, and guitars, they all interact together. So if I put some drums in, especially just for the beginning, so it just works together. The low end's consistent. It works nicely with the kick drum, works good with the snare as well, doesn't get in the way. There's, yeah, no processing, no parallel stuff on the drums as well. It's just easy. So let's go through in solo a little bit. Generally, you don't want to mix in solo, but just for this, we can have a listen and see what everything's doing. So let's take out these and just have a listen to the 7K drive. So this is at an extreme setting. I'll just keep looping that and we can play around with the controls. So you can hear what some of the, I guess you could call them EQ. They're not really doing EQ. They're changing the attack and the character of the bass with the distortion that's being introduced. So the drive pedal itself isn't an extremely distorted sound, which you can always get from the guitar amp. It's designed just to even out your transients, give you a little more pick definition. The grind control is really interesting because at lower settings, it increases the mid-range. Clarity can kind of give you a little bit of what the growl guitar amp does, which is cool. Can make it a little more defined in a mix. When you go up, it shifts, it tilts the EQ a little bit and the drive and makes it a little more aggressive, a little more in your face with the top end. The attack does something different, but it gives you, it's transient design with clipping and a few other little secret bits and pieces in there to give you more top end distortion, but not through EQ. It's a different type of distortion that is alive and interactive, which is really nice. These controls work really well with different basses as well. So I tracked this, I think, with it was a Schecter Stiletto bass. It had a cheap home brand, I think it was a humbucker style bass pickup in it, like a Stingray kind of thing. Sounded really good. The bass itself's cheap, not great, but it gives you an indication of what you can do. So reacts really well to different pickups, P basses, jazz basses sounds great. Anything with EMGs, awesome. These controls allow you to shape the attack a little bit, and it gives you kind of a different feel depending on your pickup. So then let's go to the guitar amp. So I'll turn that section off, turn the guitar amp on, and start with the crunch. So as you can see, the tone control is an interesting type of control. It doesn't necessarily, it's not an EQ. Basically, whenever we do anything that seems like it might be standard, it generally isn't. It's not just an EQ, it's not just top end. It's interacting and creating, based on the input, it gives you a different feel. So right now, it responds differently to the mid-range. So down, it gives you a little more mids, a little different shape to the distortion, and then up the top, it gives you a little more top end, makes it a little zingier and kind of more stringy sounding. So the crunch generally doesn't have a whole lot of distortion. It gives you enough character that when we blend it with the 7K drive, you can kind of cross over and make some really cool textures with it. I will put the sub back in just so that we've got the context of how this distortion sounds. So let's just hear that again with the sub in. A lot more grind with the tone up high. Set that again. So let's go from crunch to growl. Really, really cool. It just basically like puts the bass here, and then the crunch kind of moves it back, spreads it out, gives you a little more kind of blend with the guitar. Whereas if you want the bass to be front and center, maybe for like a little riff or whatever it is, and the growl brings it right to the front, which is cool. And then let's go through to the insane. So obviously a lot more aggressive. It gives you a different character. If you've got really, really heavy guitars, you're low tuned, and you want the bass to just fill it out and sound almost like another guitar, the insane mode sounds really cool. So let's flick through the three really quick. Pretty cool. The sub control, really simple, literally just a volume. All of the processing and everything that's kind of interesting is happening under the hood. So let's hear just the sub on its own. Depending on your speakers, you may be able to hear that, you may not. It's quite low down, but it gives you just a good foundation. It's not too compressed. It gives you a little bit of movement, so you can always compress it more if you like, but it just gives you a foundation to work from, which is really, really cool. So now let's add in these little extra drive stages and hear how they sound together. So plenty of different textures and tones that you can basically get it to work with everything that you need. So then the last thing that we can talk about here is the cabinet. So it is a very specific sound that this is dialed for, and it is the Black Album sound. not the one that you might be thinking of. It's the Children of Bodom Black Album sound. And it works really, really well as just a solid basis that can cover anything that you want. With these controls that you've got here, you can basically just go between scenes and make it sound exactly as you want it. It's just super easy to use. It's literally just, you just turn it on, kind of set it, and it works. It does everything that it should do. So then let's look at that cabinet. So without it, it gives you a direct sound, so you can use your own impulses if you like, or you can use it as a direct sound. That sounds really, really cool. Different character, obviously a lot more top end. Let's have a listen to that, and I'll bypass some of these processes and we can have a look. So it's really cool. I'm really happy with it. We have got a lot in the works, a lot of exciting stuff. So yeah, stay tuned, check it out. At the moment, we are working on Windows compatibility. We have the Mac stuff sorted. So right now it's available as of this video. I think we are the 5th of April, 2026, which is kind of scary, but it's out for Mac. For any of the M1 and above silicon processors. At the moment, we are working on Windows compatibility, and it's all very exciting. So yeah, check it out at halfsundsp.com. See you soon.